Those are for last year. We call the first meeting of the Finance Committee of Muncie City Council to order. If you'll please stand and face the flag. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll take roll call.
Fishman,
Present.
Selby,
Present.
McIntosh,
Present.
Green,
Present.
Garrett,
Present.
Gillian,
Here.
Basham,
Here.
Mason,
Here.
Powell.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Okay, first some housekeeping. These working sessions are being held strictly for the purpose of gathering and processing a lot of detailed information by asking questions of the department heads regarding their 2026 proposed budgets. No decisions will be made regarding possible amendments to the budget ordinance tonight. No action will be taken place. Therefore, no public comment will be taken at this evening's meeting so that the Finance Committee members can be focused on receiving this information. However, the public is welcome and encouraged to provide input in any of the 5 in-person opportunities before adoption takes place on October 6th. Those include the public hearing on September 8th, during the public comment of introduction at our regular monthly meetings on September 8th, and then at adoption on October the 6th, and at the final Finance Committee meeting, which will be held on September 23rd. Obviously, the public is also welcome to contact any of the committee members via email at any time. So, having said that, we will move on to order of business, which we will invite Judge Dunick up to discuss her budget, and that begins on page 7 of both 25 budget and this proposed 26 budget.
All right, good evening, Amanda Dunick, Judge, Muncie City Court. There's not a whole lot of change in my budget. I put in the salary part the amount that the controller's office told me to put in. I reduced training fees and travel by $400. Luckily, all of my CLE hours are paid for. When I go to the judicial conferences, I do my own travel and I pay for my own hotels. I don't seek reimbursement from any of that, so I'm reducing that down. Nothing else is changing. I did take other insurance up to $2,700, and that just makes us zero, because right now I think that line item itself is in the red. I don't know what comes out of this line item. This is something that comes out. Clarice knows what happens from the controller's office, so I'm not sure what that is, but we break even on it. The software maintenance agreement is staying the same. That covers the fees to Jim Fluke and BIS Digital, which is the recorder system. Other services and charges, that is for the copier and Psyche valves. We have to pay per copy on our copier, so that varies quarterly. And the Psyche valve, reality says that is going to be going up because we are seeing more and more of cases that require evaluations for whether it's an insanity defense or competency to stand trial. Through some of the judges' meetings that I've been to at the county level, I know Stephen Brand and some others are looking into maybe the community health partner being able to provide free Psyche valves for the courts. I don't know what the status of that is. I don't know if that was just talking off of the cuff, but I'm hoping somewhere along the line that will come around to where, because that is probably one of the most expensive variables that I have, that and the interpreter. So the interpreter, I think we've estimated it fairly well. We are still using Andrea Johnson from Victims Advocate, and she's a godsend. So she comes when we call, and she has a great relationship with the people. They trust her, which is half the battle. So.
And the salaries that you increased, those totals were given to you by the controller?
Yes, they said increase by 4%, so that's what I put in.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions from any of the other committee members? Yes.
Question. Okay, Judge Janik, it looks like the court secretary has gone up more than that. Are you adding a secretary, or, I mean, that's a big
No,
difference.
we've always had, haven't. Last year, I'll go back even further than that. There had accumulated a substantial amount of money in the adult probation user fees. And so when I found that amount of money, then I took some employees from City General and we're paying for them out of the probation user fee account, knowing that we were paying out more than what we were bringing in. So when that amount, when we drained that account, we were going to have to move everybody back into City General. So I think we got 5 years maybe of employee payments out of the probation user fee account before it zeroed out mid-year last year, I think. So this year, everyone is back in City General.
Okay.
And in '26, it is for 3 secretaries. So all the secretaries are back in City General. So I have a court reporter, 3 secretaries, and a bailiff, and a probation officer and a public defender.
Okay.
But that's why it's higher, because I think it's all now back in City General.
Okay. Councilperson Selby.
Thank you. Could you explain again other services and charges, the 3,000? And then I had another question. Where was that one? Okay, we'll start with that till
Okay?
okay.
So on what I pay out of other services and charges is if I have to hire psychologists for a psychological evaluation, if the attorney thinks there's an issue for competency, if the defendant doesn't understand what's going on, then we have to have him evaluated by 2 different professionals. And that's running anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 per case, depending on what's actually filed and what level of evaluation that we need. And then copier, I believe it's billed quarterly. They come in and run the numbers and we pay per copy.
Okay. And
Go ahead.
somebody else can, and I will come back to my question.
I have a question, if I may. Your probation officer, is that 1 or 2?
1.
And how many years does he have?
She has probably 30,
30 years? Okay.
right, Lacey? Is that? The exact years, but her salary is pursuant by statute, and also by statute, since she is the chief of her department, even though there's only 1 probation officer, she is still entitled to the additional $5,000 by statute, because she is in fact chief. So her salary is pursuant to statute.
Okay. Good. I have another question, if I may.
Absolutely. Follow up.
The public defender that you have here, I know that the state does have opportunity and federal funding for that to help offset cost.
Only for circuit and superior courts, so.
And that would be county?
That would be county. I reached out to a handful of people to try and modify that statute to where, because right now it says for circuit and superior courts. This is a municipal court, city and town court. And the only thing that needs to happen to allow me to apply for that reimbursement is for that statute to change to include city and town courts as well. And even if they wanted to limit it to the city and town courts that hear misdemeanors, because that is the only ones that would have a public defender. But honestly, it all fell on deaf ears, so.
Okay. We'll pursue that if we can with the state level.
Absolutely, it is, the upside is we get reimbursement from the state. The downside is you are capped, they watch the number of cases your public defender has. So in city court, before we actually go that route, I think we would want to actually do the math, because we have 1 public defender with a lot of cases. May exceed the limits for the reimbursement at this point.
Okay.
But I will, whatever you need from me to be able to pursue that, just let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This might go with what we were talking about. Again, public defender. I had concerns about it last year, and I've asked questions about it, because I just want to make sure that people have adequate representation, and they have a public defender and can meet with a public defender when they have time. So in other cities, we know that the public defender can appear as a salary or a service line item in some other cities. Here it's a salary, of course, and there's zero for services line item historically. Is there any conflict with the workflow risk present if loads go up here in Muncie in our
So
situation?
I had initial hearings today, to give you an example.
Yes.
And if you are going to, if you qualify for the public defender, I then appoint the public defender, assess the $100 public defender fee if you're not on disability, and set it for a pretrial conference on the public defender's calendar.
Okay.
Currently, today, we were setting them in January. So his calendar is full. He meets with them all for the first pretrial conference on Tuesday mornings. He's here every Tuesday morning. And then we'll have dispos and trials Tuesday afternoons with him. Obviously not here every time, he does take vacations. I'm not saying he's here every Tuesday, but we've not ran into any problems. I've not ran into any complaints. When there have been issues that we need to fast track a case, when I say fast track it, meaning that we want to get it resolved sooner, or whether the state wants to move it quicker or the defendant wants to move it quicker, we are able to incorporate that into the calendar. All I need is notice from one side or the other that it needs to be treated differently than in the normal course. But up to this point, I've not received any complaints. When they are assigned the public defender, they get their dates, and they also get his information, which is his email, his address, and his phone number. And they are able to contact him at their leisure, but they do meet in that back room on the pretrial day, one-on-one, confidentially. So I know for a fact that the public defender is going to meet with the attorney, and the attorney is going to get to meet with the client. It's such a transient population that a lot of times they don't follow
Okay.
through. So that's why I do it that way, because I know they're either they're appearing for a hearing. I know they get to meet that day. And if they don't appear, I issue a warrant, because it is in fact a court hearing. So it's an easier way to keep track of the cases and the defendants.
Go ahead,
Okay.
follow up.
So in your professional opinion, do you like the fact that it's a salary and not a service?
I've had it both ways in my 10 years as Muncie City Court judge. And I appreciate the public defender that we have now. He's very responsive to the court. He is he's vigorous in his defense of the defendants. He handles them well. He speaks to them well. He relates to them well. So when I had it as a service, it was more beneficial for the individual public defender at that time that it was a 1099
Okay.
position. It works better for this public defender that it's salary. So I personally don't have a preference. That never affects the way the court flows.
Okay.
So I just kind of, if counsel's willing to have it as a salaried position, and that's what works for what's working for my public defender, then that would be my request. Because right now it works.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
mhm.
Appreciate you.
Mr. Basham?
Judge, thank you for the work you do.
Thank you.
Big work. Line item 1039 is defined as interpreter. Could you give us more information about that? And if you would imagine your current budget performance report, where would you say you are in the percentage of paying that interpreter? Do you have any idea?
I've seen it, but I don't have it with me. I'm looking.
You were at 30% at 6 months.
30% at 6 months. So I left it,
okay.
left it the same. So
Right.
if there is a Spanish-speaking defendant that comes in that does not understand English or doesn't understand it well, I have an interpreter come. I've had sign language. I've had to find Farsi before. So anybody that the state files charges against is entitled to an interpreter if they are not comfortable with the English language. For most of what I see is Spanish-speaking individuals. And luckily for us, Andrea Johnson works in the Victims Advocate Office, and she will interpret for the court.
Thank you.
She is not a licensed court interpreter through the state of Indiana, so she charges less than what other sponsored court interpreters do. But she is sufficient. She has translated all of the court documents into Spanish. So when I am saying the rights to people, they're following along with the Spanish document. When it's the waiver of rights, if they're going to do a plea agreement, she has translated that into Spanish for them as well. So she goes above and beyond. But at an initial hearing is typically when I identify if we need an interpreter. So that case, if she's not available that day, typically she's not on a moment's notice, but I will reset it for a day that she is available. She comes in, she'll meet with them, she goes over all the documents with them, and then when it's time for the hearing, she stands with them, I swear her in, and then I talk to the defendant in English, she translates, they answer to her, and she answers back to me. And then we'll do the initial hearing, and then we will move forward. If they want to talk to the state of Indiana, then she goes back there and interprets for the defendant with the state of Indiana. If there's a plea agreement reached, she will come back up in front for that. And then, and if we have to reset it, we just reset it on a date that she's available.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Judge, I'm a little bit, so this is where my brain is going. I just want to make sure that everyone who needs to appear in front of you has been notified, that they have the information, because we know when they miss your court, they get in more trouble. So I noticed here that your postage fee is only $500. So I'm assuming that most of your communication is through e-notice maybe, or?
The clerk of the court.
Say
The
that
clerk
one
of the
more time.
court, the clerk of the court is the one responsible for sending out
The
notice.
clerk of
That
the
would be,
court. Okay.
that's the clerk.
And not you, okay, thank you for.
Now, my
explaining.
probation officer will mail information out to probationers. We will mail some stuff. If it's a specific order that I've drafted today, we'll make sure, the clerk always sends it out the next day on distribution, but we will mail it out specifically. It all just depends. But if 99% of everything is mailed out from the clerk's office.
One more comment?
Sure.
I just want to let you know,
I was just
Just
going
a
to
quick
follow up
comment.
with that.
Okay, go ahead,
They'd only
please.
spent 45% of their postage fees
That's
at the end of
thank you,
June.
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why my comment was like, I love talking to you because every time I learn something new about,
Yeah.
every year, every
Yeah.
budget hearing. So these
Yeah.
might be, but now
No,
I know.
I'm.
I appreciate you.
Yes, whenever any of you have questions, I'm available, call me. You guys all have my cell phone, my email, my office number, so at any point in time, if you have questions or concerns, please call. This, as far as I'm concerned, is a bare bones budget. I don't ask for anything I don't need. I don't ask for wants. If it's a want, I'm gonna come to you specifically at a meeting for that want, and I'm not gonna wrap it into a budget hearing. So I think I have always, even when I worked with the county, budgets are for the daily operation, not for something above and beyond, in my
So
opinion.
much.
Thank you. Any other
Thank you.
questions? Any final questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you for your time, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will be moving on to animal control, which is on page 16 of both your 2025 and your 2026 proposed budget. Good evening, Mr. Talby. How are you?
Good afternoon, guys. Josh Talby. I'm the Director of Muncie Animal Care and Services. My budget in front of you today is pretty straightforward. My increases, there's the 4% to full-time employees. You'll notice I have taken away 1,000 from institutional medical. Not institutional medical, gas and oil, cages, poles, and equipment. I took 3K away from natural gas and also 4K away from other services and charges. My biggest additions are going to be institutional medical, which I increased by 10K, and food and litter, which I increased by 10K. I've also given you guys a budget performance report, so if you look at that, those are very modest increases.
Mr. Talby, your salary increased by 15.5%.
So there was some, essentially what happened last year is my salary was taken from the 2024 and actually wasn't reflected accurately as to what I was supposed to make in 2025. So it looks like a larger increase, but it is 4% from what I'm making this year.
So you're making more, does your salary match the salary ordinance?
It is, I believe so, yes, 60. It might be a little more.
Look into that,
Okay.
because that's a significant increase. Your dog tech dog cat tech increase, did you add another employee, or is that just,
So that's 2 employees, and that's an increase of 4% for them. So that's just my 2 full-time employees.
Okay, go ahead.
hold on 1 second. When you were removing or reducing other line items, your food and litter line item was 116% depleted by July 1st, and your building maintenance was 129 depleted by July 1st. Was that taken into consideration as you were?
Yeah, and with our current revenue issues that the city's facing, I try to be very conservative in bringing to you guys any increases. I know it's not ideal. I could ask for a lot more. I tried to keep that in mind and be, responsible with taxpayer money and keep it as low as I can in hopes that we can keep it down.
Okay. All right. Did I hear? Mr.
And
Bass?
following up, and thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Good.
Following along those lines, your budget performance report, and thank you for providing this. I noticed that food and litter is at 169%. Talk to us about that, and try to make us understand that line item here in your proposed budget.
Sure, and so I can say last month, and the most animals we've ever had at the shelter in my 16 months, we had roughly 450 to 420 animals in-house, and when you break that number down, it costs us about $135 to $145 a day to feed each animal. So what you see
Say
there,
that again.
about $135 to $145, and that's an estimate based off of the numbers, but that's about how much it costs us to feed an animal per day. So it just kind of, when we have more animals, it goes up. That's not ideal, but as a shelter, we have the obligation. We some rescues have the ability to pick and choose, but if MPD calls me and says, we've got 2 dogs in the house, we have no choice but to take them. So we can set a benchmark of 120 dogs and 300 cats. There's going to be times when we go over that.
Okay. Yes, Councilperson.
First, I would like for you to clarify, 135 is $1.35.
Yeah, dollar.
Okay.
Yes, $1.35.
For the people
Yes,
listening,
yes,
because
yes,
I'm
sorry.
like, I don't even spend on 135 on my meals. a
Much
day. But
cheaper than
anyways, just clarification, and thank you for helping me understand that too. So I looked at Sarah, I was
Sorry
like,
about that.
35. She's like, anyway, so thank you, council person. Elliot. So I am looking at the veterinary line at 0. Could you explain that line item, veterinary,
Sure.
that says 0?
Yep, and so that's
Vets
been,
and animals, so that's
Yeah.
concerning.
yep, that's been replaced by the line item 422132, institutional and medical.
Oh, okay.
And if you look, we are currently at 106% of that. What we do is, we do receive a Petco grant, and once we hit that threshold,
Yes.
we kind of subsidize it with a grant that specifically has to go towards medical and life-saving measures for animals. So we have a way of kind of,
Yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I know, I was
No.
nodding, yes, I was asking
I
a question
believe
too.
May I?
Councilperson Green.
Thank you. I had a question about your part-time
mhm.
at $132,600. How many part-time employees do you have?
So my workforce is mostly part-time. I have 3 full-time ACOs, a full-time cat tech, a full-time dog tech, and a full-time office manager. I think we're currently sitting at 26 employees. That would mean 21 part-time.
Okay. And may I have a follow-up question?
Go ahead.
The overtime pay, is that theirs or is that,
No, they don't
Full-time
get any.
employee.
That's all full-time. And so with being a 24/7, 365 agency, I can tell you this year, we experienced a real decrease in animal control officers. To give you an idea, I currently have 3 full-time and 4 part-time ACOs. At one point during this year, it was 2 part-time and 1 full-time. And when that's the case, essentially, the overtime, and even now, it's not ideal. So what we do is have someone take the phone, which is essentially, you can call anytime, and an ACO will be there and can come provide any care or emergency situation. And what we've had to do is use a lot of ACOs. So anytime they go, if they get a call and they go to a call, that's 3 hours immediately. That's all. So that number has ballooned. I did want to get that down. But with shelters and rescues, there's a lot of turnover, and it's hard to keep staff, so it hasn't been as ideal as I would have liked. But yeah, that's full-time.
Okay, thank you.
1 second, Mr. Basham. Councilperson Selby?
Thank you. Question about your electricity burden. What strategies exist to reduce that 32,000? And, I'm sorry, one more. And are you or will you pursue energy efficiency grants?
You know, it's tough. It's an old building, so we have a lot of different HVAC units in there. And so there's really not much to be cut from that. I know it's a big number, but we've got to keep the place cool. We've got to keep, the lights on. So that's just kind of natural. That was what it has been, I think, for the last 3 years, and we've kind of kept it there. So that's pretty normal for a shelter that, has lights on and has to run electricity kind of 24/7.
And then
In some
are you
degree.
guys pursuing, or will you be willing to pursue some grants to help with that, or to help?
I would be
you know?
open to that. One thing that makes some grants harder for us is being a government entity, because in the animal world, we're viewed as having a guaranteed revenue source, and the other ones traditionally run off of grants and donations. So it's a little bit more tough, but I would be absolutely, I'll look into it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Councilman Basham?
Thank you. Could you remind us of your service area?
Yeah,
It's
yes.
beyond just city limits, correct?
Yes. So I'm a little unique in that I deal with the entirety of the city of Muncie, but there's actually an interlocal agreement with the county. I service also the unincorporated town, not the towns, but the unincorporated areas. So we have quite a bit of a bigger radius that.
And those towns would include?
Gaston, Daleville, Eaton, Selma, Yorktown, any incorporated town. Yeah, well, we service Cowan, they're not big enough, but the incorporated towns, we don't service them.
Okay.
But usually we try to be a good neighbor and help out if.
Yeah, you guys do a great job. Thank you.
How much of your, I'm sorry.
No.
How much of your revenue actually goes back into the general fund? I know you have some reverting funds, but you also give back to the general fund with some of those fees.
That's a good question. I don't have that.
That's fine, I hadn't notified you of that.
sure.
But that was just something I thought about, is that you are contributing to the general fund with.
Sure, and I will do some research and I will get with you directly about it.
Thank you. Councilperson Goyen?
I'm looking at your budget performance report. I'm looking at an amended budget here as far as a salary. I'm still mathing this, and believe me, I'm not doing my own math. I'm using like a calculator thing. And it's still showing a large increase, like an over 10% increase on this. So if you could make sure that we have the correct amount that your salary is right now, because according to this, even with that amended, it's a higher percentage, way higher than 4%.
Sure, and I will say that there was a similar mix-up with my office manager position. I honestly, I think maybe Craig might be better able to answer that for you.
Okay, if you can just get that to us.
Yeah,
so that we can
absolutely.
see what that number really is then, yeah.
Yeah,
And I had made note to have Craig send us the salary ordinance, just to make sure that we are matching up with what we adopted, so.
Great.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
One last question, because I know that was something that I had been asked. How often, and this really isn't budget, but goes into your thought process of how many people go where. You have a lot of people that get injured. Just off the top of your head, on a month, how many of your employees do you have injured?
well, it really depends on the influx. There are good times, like with any business, there's good times, there's bad times, there's a lot of turnover, there's not. Most of them come during those training periods. Again, we have a lot of turnover. So usually those happen in training periods. I wouldn't say it's anything, maybe 1-2 a month.
Okay.
I would say, and that might be high, that might be low, I'm not exactly sure, but it's not a great deal, and usually those happen in the training periods.
Okay, it's just, I just want to make sure
Sure.
that we understand that that's also a dangerous
Yeah,
position.
absolutely.
Okay. Are there any other questions? We are going to follow up and have the salary ordinance sent to us to verify that. If you would send that information to us as well, that would be fantastic. Any other questions
I have
regarding?
one other question I'd like
Sure.
to ask. With the new building that you have, or the other building that you have that's behind the actual facility, have you thought perhaps that there might be an opportunity to get solar panels on that building to help generate electricity for your building, to help reduce your electric costs.
Yeah, that building honestly, I don't know how old that building has been there. And if you've ever looked at it, it's kind of a temporary setup. Very similar to what you see on construction sites, just 4 of them put together. I don't think it was meant to be a long-term, and we did look at maybe expanding into that back building, but the cost to fix up a building to the degree to which you need to store animals and make it conducive is just too expensive. So we haven't been looking at anything necessarily with the back building.
Is there area there at the back parking lot on the south side or even in the grass area for a small solar field?
No,
Just-
no, not really.
Okay.
I wouldn't say so. If anything, I think that area, there's a small space, it'd be probably better served with more yards. If you could knock down that building and put solar panels, that might be a better use for us as a city, but.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have one.
Sure.
Your vehicle repairs, with the interlocal agreement, does that carry into any part of a vehicle maintaining or, didn't they give you a van or a truck or something like that, correct?
Yeah, and I've been working with the commissioners closely on this. They're aware that we need a new vehicle because the van is completely not functioning. It hasn't been for a while. So the commissioners are also aware that they're working towards getting us some type of vehicle. I will say, in the next coming years, you guys will see probably more, either more auto repairs or an increased line item for auto, because the trucks that we've got and the vehicles we've got are all well over 100,000 miles and 10 years old.
I'm sorry, Chairperson. I do have a follow-up question. So when you had an agreement with the commissioners, they agreed to give you a vehicle?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And how long, tell me about the condition of the vehicle that they gave you.
So it was operable. It was, the primary use for it was, so before I got there, there was a washer out and I don't know if the dryer worked. It was essentially all outsourced. And that vehicle was primarily load up with dirty laundry and take to the laundromat and bring it back. That was the primary use for that vehicle.
Yes.
So now you said that they're gonna give you another due to the local agreement. What type of vehicle? Is it gonna be just as good as what they gave you, or are they gonna give you a decent vehicle? For your services, for what you do for the county?
Nothing specifically was guaranteed or hashed out. We've had talks of a truck. They asked, what do we need the most? I said another truck. And so that was the end of the conversation. So they're still developing, but nothing concrete yet.
Okay, so would you please let them know that the city council, especially me, I'm concerned of the quality of the vehicle they're gonna give you the second time around, so we don't have the same issues.
Absolutely.
And thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions for Mr. Talby?
One other one. Going back to that vehicle, with that interlocal agreement, when you get that vehicle, do they service that vehicle? Or is that, once you get it, is that coming out of the line items of your vehicle repairs and all of that?
I believe it's coming out of my line item.
Okay.
But honestly, on that vehicle, once I got in, I kind of, it wasn't worth putting any money into, so it was no longer,
So you didn't send the bill back to them, you just paid for it?
I'd rather use that money elsewhere.
Okay, thank you. It is what it is.
I have a question actually for Mr. Wright. If Mr. Talby is receiving $60,000 a year, did you plan on coming back to council to get an appropriation since that line item will be depleted?
We need additional appropriations.
Okay. All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anything else from anyone on this one? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you all.
All right. After building commissioner, we are going to go to, after animal control, we will go to building commissioner, which is on page 9 of your 2025 and 2026 budget.
Good afternoon. Richard Rawlings, Building Commissioner. I think mine's pretty straightforward.
It is.
Basically, all of the salaried positions got a raise of 4%, according to the controller. And I believe everything else pretty much stayed the same as it was.
Okay.
I forgot to bring what my 2025 was.
No, you're fine.
You're all right.
Just so we can review. Again, the math doesn't really math on this.
Yeah.
For the, as far as building commissioner adopted salaries 59,059, and it went up 7% to 63,310. Is that another issue? I mean, we're seeing that consistently throughout all the department heads. So, and it might not be a question for you, it might be a question for Mr.
Yeah,
Wright.
as far as I know, when I took over, Steve Selby told me it was supposed to be at 60, whatever it was. And then plus 4%, which gives the 63,310.
Okay.
But, I'm not sure about beforehand.
You're also gonna have longevity and other,
Do department heads get longevity?
pardon,
Department heads don't get longevity, sir.
not department heads, but other line items in there.
Other line items, but I'm talking specifically about the department heads. 15.5% for Mr. Tolby, 7% for Mr. Rawlings, 7% for Judge, things along those lines. I'm just curious. And it might be, you know, the council adopted totals, and then we are finding out now that they were being paid at a higher amount. And I know that when we talked about the maximum salary ordinances, we actually had that conversation and said, some of these are higher than what we've adopted, and it was said, that's the highest amount they can be paid, but we can't pay them over what you've adopted, and we're finding out with every department head, you have been paying them more than what we adopted. And so I'm just curious how that's,
I'll get the salary ordinance over to you.
okay, I can pull it up on my phone. I looked at Mr. Tolby's, and yes, the salary ordinance was for hire, but again, the conversation that was had when we adopted the salary ordinances was that we can't pay them more than you've adopted, and we find out that you have been. And so that's just, you know, unless you plan on just stopping paying them when this line item runs out, which I highly doubt. I wouldn't, that's not what I'm asking for, but it is what it is for now. All right, we'll go ahead with you, sir. So
Okay.
your sorry about that interruption. Your salary went up, and then the only other items that I'm seeing have gone up are the salaries, and you said all of them are 4%.
Yes.
Now, your staff will have longevity and different things along those lines, which is something we ran into last year, and so we aren't even discussing that because
Yeah.
that's muddied and convoluted. But the department heads should be straight 4% from what we adopted last year. So we'll have that discussion. So your, and I'll continue on, your utility costs seem to be much higher than the other departments. Is that just the way that your budget was built by the controller?
Yeah, I guess, because,
All right.
I mean, I think it might have to do with like square footage of office space
Okay.
or something.
Councilperson Gillian.
To follow up on that, I noticed that too, and I remember last year talking about how that was, it's like just sort of spread among all the departments, but I thought that was going to change, but it's not changing, is that correct? On these utility costs, where they were like spread among the departments? Okay, but I thought that was going to change, but you left it that way again?
Yeah, we did that with the health insurance.
Okay, but not with these costs, okay. And so is that why his costs would be so much higher?
Yeah, but
Based on square footage. If you have more square footage now.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Is that something that because I know you did consider that, Mr. Wright, is that something that you'd consider in the future, taking all the utilities and putting them in Board of Works, or is that,
at some point, we'd like to.
Okay.
At some point, so, yeah.
all right,
Sanitary district complicates it because they're separate from us. We pay that out of their budget, so we have to figure.
Okay,
okay,
all right.
all right, thank you.
May I
Councilperson-
go, so if that is, so we might have to look then, if it's per square footage, at the city judge's square footage. Because what she's paying in utility is hardly anything. And she has a decent sized square footage. Are you aware of that, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, I mean, these
So it's not even everywhere, but you're working on it. Okay, that's all. Okay.
Any other questions
I-
for the building?
I have a question for you.
Councilperson Green.
The clothing allowance,
Yes.
I wonder what's that?
Well, it's so that people that can get, like, shirts that identify themselves as building commissioners or
Okay.
building commissioner's office,
Okay.
and, just general,
It shows that they're official when they go out on job sites?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Yes, Councilperson Sullivan.
Is there a way for you, I mean, everything is, with SB1, let's be honest, everything is getting tighter and we are at a position where we have to cut wherever we need to cut and recoup. Is there ways, or are you open to raising some of those permit fees or some of those inspection fees? And how are you recouping, when you spend all this money on securing properties, are you able to recoup some of that money from
We
property
try to
owner?
with tax liens and stuff like that. Sometimes we make it, sometimes we get it,
We
sometimes we don't.
Okay, so you
But,
try.
And we just started this year taking some of the trash and debris to actual court and getting court orders to clean them up.
That's-
And we just started that. We just did our third one today.
And you're finding,
Plus, and they get fined by us for our administrative fees, plus they get fined by the sanitation department for
okay,
all the people and the loads that go to the dump.
well, thank you for doing that.
Anyone else?
I do have one more, please. And I do notice that, may I?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a clerk's position, I do believe it was at 0 in 2025, and you're not gonna fill that too, it's at 0.
No,
Okay.
no, because SB1,
Yes, B1, I got that.
SB1 plus,
Well, thank you.
we have a clerk come in part-time that comes in under
To
part-time.
take care of that.
So,
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Just one moment, please. Lacey, will you also get council a copy, or the finance committee a copy of the minutes from the meeting where the salary ordinance was adopted, please? Thank you. I think it's ordinance 33-24. I just want to see what that conversation was. Thank you.
And may I?
Yes, absolutely.
And is it appropriate to request for the final 3 nights that we have budget performance reports from every department head? Where might we go to make that request so that we have it ahead of time and they can inform our questions? Would that be from you, Lacey, or something?
Would you like because I am looking at, and what Mr. Wright has been referring to is the budget performance report as of June the 30th. That's just kind of like
Okay,
halfway through.
sure,
It
okay.
kind of gives you an idea. That's the
Sure.
way I've always done it. But would you like one from this month? Is that,
I would like to have it as current as possible.
okay.
But
Mr. Wright, would you get a copy of the most current budget performance report?
Okay, that's fine.
to all the
she asked you to do something, and I thought, well, maybe she'd do that for me too.
ordinances, yeah.
Sorry.
Money goes to Craig. All right, so let's regroup. Now we are going to go to the human rights on page 11 of your 2026 budget. And if you have the 2025 budget, that as well. Starting off, I just want to say we're glad you're here. And we're very, we're glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here too.
Okay. We appreciate you coming tonight. Okay, so from what I could see on your budget, the only thing in your entire budget that went up was your salaries. And, let's see, and that went up. Again, we have the same issue where we have, it's 7% from what we adopted for salaries in 2024, for this year. And so we're running into that same issue where what the council adopted is not what the administration has been paying. But other than that, I think that's the only thing that's gone up. So,
I might say this,
sure.
I am retiring. And so I don't know if the board will keep the salary at the same level that I'm being paid.
Okay,
That's going to be their decision. So that might be something that you might want to take into consideration.
okay.
So
Are you suggesting that they could potentially reduce it or request to increase it?
that's what they explained to me, that they would reduce it.
Okay. All right. Councilperson Selby?
And it will still be a full-time position, correct? They're not. Did you guys
the
have
director?
talks? Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Any other questions for Ms. Yvonne?
I-
Go ahead.
It's not a question, but, thank you. You said you're retiring. We have no idea the work that you've done, over the years that you've been in your position. I've got to work beside you and see how you help people and see how you relate to everybody that walks through your office. We're gonna be sorely missed when you retire, but I love you. I hope you enjoy the retirement, and thank you for everything you've done.
Yes.
I will, thank you. I will be here in Muncie.
Oh, I know.
We'll
Not,
see ya.
not going anywhere. But, I'm here to help. I love Muncie. I will do whatever I can to make sure Muncie is in top shape, is a welcoming community. And I appreciate you guys, all of your help, for making sure that Muncie Human Rights gets the job done, make sure that people feel and are welcomed here in Muncie, Indiana, with the different resolutions that you've put forth, all of that. Thank you for doing that. That's what people want to know. Are they, when they move to a place, are they going to live in a comfortable environment?
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's important,
And be welcomed.
and be welcome.
Before we have
Yeah.
comment from council.
I just want to thank you too for the speech you gave out at John Lewis' birthday celebration out in Hickey Park. And also, I've learned a lot from you. I will come to you on certain situations, having to deal with that. This prior to even me being on the council. So I just, congratulate you on the job you've done so well, so well.
Thank you.
And I do know where you live, so yes.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
I do have a comment. I did serve on the Muncie Human Rights Commission, and I have seen you in action multiple times. I've listened to you, and I've seen how much you fight for the people, and you go 150%.
Thank you.
And I've learned a lot from you, to be outspoken, to say what I feel, to do the right thing, even if it's an unpopular. So thank you for that. And I've learned personally a lot from you, so I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys also. And just always keep Muncie first. That's all I'll say.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have a
Ms.
question.
Ms. Bell.
Question.
So I-
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Dishman would like to say something.
I would like to
Chair.
thank you too, Ms. Thompson. You've been an outstanding person in that job. We went to high school together. And
Long time ago.
and you held your rights there too. Yeah, she was pretty on it back then.
Thank you. Yeah.
I should say, you was pretty on it. I shouldn't say back then.
Go Bearcats.
But I'm proud to be your friend.
Thank you. I'm proud to be all of you. I adore what you guys have to do. And thank you, because I'm like, oh my gosh. You stand up for people, and you hear stuff, and you do stuff, and you have to take into consideration how will it impact Muncie. And so thank you. I appreciate that.
Councilman Green wanted to say
I
something.
want to say something first, that I met you a few years ago and read your resume of things that you've done. And I don't know how any one person could accomplish all the things that you do. And I told you that at that time. I don't know how you could do that. You were so busy.
That's why I'm retired.
Well-deserved rest. We appreciate all that you've done.
Thank
You've made a big difference. I do have one question about the budget, and that is the training fees and travel. By the look of it, there's just 2 employees in the department.
Correct.
But I wondered if you could expand on that as to what that is and what it entails.
Well, I'll tell you what it has gone towards.
Okay.
We partner with MLK Dream Team. We make sure that the students for the citizenship awards, the little certificates that they get, the city does that. Okay? So that's money that
How much was the training?
we put out, to make sure those are printed. We just had a spectacular dinner with the NAACP a few weeks ago, where we brought in the cousin of Emmett Till, and we partnered with NAACP. We partner with Indiana Black Expo. We partner with Muncie Public Library. We partner with Pat Stone. We are partners with a lot of organizations. So that training fee is helping to impact others in the community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Say something.
Thank you.
Ms. Sullivan.
And if I may add, that with all due respect, but some of that money when we were on the, when I was on the Muncie Human Rights too, goes to, like when you have a new board member, right? And they need to go get training in ADA or something like that. So that money is put at a good spot for people to learn their, board members to get professional development
Yes.
and learn the law. So
Yes.
some of that.
Okay, one last, President
Ms.
Mason would like to say.
Yes, sir.
Your services go far beyond the human rights
Thank you.
out in the community. I've watched over the years some of the things that you do out there. Even working with the Whiteley Council, working with various organizations, YWCA. Your services expand wide range, and I don't want you to think that it goes unappreciated. We do appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I'm here until I take, well, I thought last week would have been my last breath, but,
I know.
but it's not. So until my last breath, I'm going to always be the cheerleader for Muncie,
Elbows up.
okay?
We got one more.
I mean, everybody else did, Yvonne, so now it's my turn. I will give you big hugs later. I will see you again, and I know that you're not gone. So I appreciate everything you've done. I'm glad you're able to retire, but it's not goodbye. You're going to still be around. You're still going to be helping, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions or comments or accolades for our accolades? Ms.
We
Khan?
forgot
Thank
the
you,
award,
guys.
right?
I know. Thank you. All right. The last budget that we'll be reviewing tonight is the Muncie Police Department. It is a large one, and it begins on page 14 of your 2026 budget. Page 14 of 225, of 2025, if you're reviewing that. Okay. You should have an email that Chief Sloan sent of their lit budget. There was a snafu that was no fault of anyone's other than DLGF, and so that wasn't included for both police and fire. But both chiefs have been very helpful and sent that to us, so you have an email of that. That total for that lit is $2,156,000. So, for lit, and we'll get to that in a moment. Welcome, Chief.
Thank
and
you.
Deputy
We've got a
Chiefs.
lot going on. Is it all right if we use the table?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. We'll start. So, and we all know from last year that you have numerous employees and officers that have varying longevities and things along those lines. So calculating that 4% is not something that council wants to do this year. So that increase. But we do want to look at, for instance, your salary, it went up, I think, 29,000. Does that include all the chiefs together, I'm guessing? How did we,
Yes, it does.
and I'm looking at general fund right
Sure.
now.
It does, and so that's actually reflected of 9%. That's not fully accurate. We haven't transferred the money in from the appropriation that we did for the raises for this year, which was 5%, so 5 and 4%. I think you guys have already discussed with other departments that
Correct.
right now we're working around 4%. Just so everybody knows, FOP is still in negotiations with city administration. While that's still ongoing, this gave us a bench to start at. So it's actually, it looks like a $29,000 increase. It's really not. We just haven't appropriated in the money from this year from the approval that came through in March or April. I don't remember when the meeting was.
We appropriated that money into those line items, and so that's what, are you saying that you were going to move money in from your lit?
So how the ordinance was written was you appropriated money into one line item, which was the patrol line item, but we're included in the raise. I have not internally transferred that yet.
I'll review that, because I think the line items from 24 to 25 did increase for chiefs, but I can review that. And we'll just continue on. How many record clerks do you have?
3.
Okay. And you removed the funding for the front desk clerk this year? For next year?
So what we did was we put that money into the actual patrol officer line. What we intend to do is staff that with a staff position moving forward. That's become a very involved process up there for building security, report taking, law enforcement response. How we're doing it now was it's technically a civilian position, but the Merit Commission has to grant them police authority, so we've always had a retiree. So what we did was we're going to allocate that funding back into the patrol line. And like I said, we're still in negotiations. I think the direction that we're looking at is increasing by a person to staff that with a staff person.
So will you no longer have retirees working out there?
Not necessarily. Right now, there was only one position that was funding. The other two, well, we only have one right now, retiree that's working. We're working them on a Board of Works contract.
Okay.
Those people are not easy to come by either. So.
All right. And your social work, that in June, that line item was 99% depleted. Is there?
We made an internal transfer from one of our other lines to cover that for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So we should be good there.
Okay. And again, I'm looking at June, so
Sure.
you could have already maneuvered that and it just not be reflecting on the budget performance report that I'm reviewing. And you've moved gas and oil and tires from the general fund into your public safety lit?
We moved gas and oil, well, gas and oil existed in both. Gas and oil hasn't existed in the general fund for several years.
Okay.
We've been operating gas and oil out of the lit fund for probably the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And if I may, are you looking at budget form 1 now?
Yes,
Okay.
budget from one we have, I think everyone has a copy of 2025 and 2026, so we can compare.
Yep.
Go ahead and your comment?
No, I was just making
Okay.
sure. I just want to make sure I was looking at the right
Yeah,
thing.
no, you are. Okay, well, let's see. And then, okay, Councilperson Selby?
Yes, just to
You had
go, may I,
Yeah.
so you, let's go back to the fuel and tire costs. Where are they budgeted?
They're going to be in so tire's just part of maintenance now.
Okay.
I don't really know
Right.
why tire hasn't been a line in several years. It's all been part of vehicle maintenance.
They're in there's an email, as I said, there's an email that went
Yeah,
out.
gas and oil?
Yes, that's their
Not
public
other
safety-
supplies, okay.
That's their public safety lit. Is that still considered Fund 105? I mean, is that what you
106
still-
for us.
106, yeah.
105 for fire.
105. 106.
Okay, thank you.
Watch your six, okay. All right. Do you happen to know the operating balance of that right now? Just off, I mean, like what's in there that's not appropriated? What your balance is of unappropriated funds?
Unappropriated, something like $350,000 probably.
Thank you. Okay. And then, let's see. Pardon me as we dig through all these other. And the estimate then, so the estimate of your public safety lit for 2026, your share will be 2,057,900. So you'll be digging into some of that balance or that reserve to cover those expenses that you've budgeted?
We certainly can. I know that DLGF's been working on projections, and I don't know if those come directly from DLGF or from SBOA, I think DLGF.
I actually got a copy of the
Of the
estimated lit for
projections.
2026, and
So what do you see there, 2,057,000?
from what Muncie Civil City, public safety distribution for 2026 was 4,115,999. Your share of that would be 2,057,995. That was, through just something that I got sent as on the Airport Authority Board. It had every unit on it, so,
Yeah, that's pretty good, and I can touch on that just a little bit.
okay.
Every May, there's an addendum that comes through. So these are just rough projections that DLGF
Right.
is willing to put forward. We've seen a positive net increase every May for the past 3 years. And that keeps going up because our workforce is growing and our salaries are going up, and that's what that's all tied to. So yes, we have the ability to tap into reserves if we need to, but I project that that number is going to be higher than what it is.
And I mean, once they reconcile the May budget or the May property tax
Yeah.
draw, it usually.
Typically when we see that dump.
All right, questions as I look through. Anybody else have questions as we're looking through?
Yes. Okay, so you mentioned that you moved monies to cover the social workers. What line item did you, or where did that come from?
I moved that currently out of the patrol officer line item. We were understaffed, so we are going to have some excess money in there before the end of the year. We have money that we are reclaiming back in for the social work program. That grant is expired. And
I was going to ask that next.
We've got to figure out
yes.
a way to continue to fund that.
Yeah,
So
because I
that's-
see that there's no increase for them. I knew that was from that
Right.
grant, and I didn't know. if it was
So
gonna-
we were hoping to maintain the one in the general fund, and then we've got the revenues built up to sustain the program moving forward. Now,
Okay.
we're actively working with the unit, and down at the state, I'll just be honest, I think everybody's just as frustrated with the state as we are.
Yep.
And it's our job to figure out how we can try to secure some more funding to continue to grow that program. That program has done wonders for this
Yes,
community and for
yes.
this agency.
Yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah.
So that's for us to figure out, and we'll figure it out.
Your employee uniforms line item, that's for civilian staff within the department? That's not, it's employee uniforms, it's a line item that as of June was not, it wasn't used at all, $2,000.
That's actually, well, so sort of, it's for all employees that we have. That's to replace, if we have to replace like damaged uniforms and clothing.
Okay. Medical services at the middle of the year was only 27. Is that, I mean, I know that ebbs and flows when you have new hires, so is that just basically it comes and goes? It's not a,
Comes and goes, and there was probably 3 or 4 years ago that I had requested the previous council combine medical and psychological services into one line, and we didn't get that done. And so you'll see
your psych services are
psych
over
services are out. So
114%.
we are able to continue to pay for psychological services out of the medical services line. Probably next year I'll work with the mayor and the controller's office and you guys. I would like to see that just be one
Yeah.
line for
Makes
medical
sense.
services. I don't really like to delineate for
Yes.
what we're talking about here when we talk about
Yep.
psychological services.
Other insurance, what comes out of that? It's, in June, it was 116% depleted.
That typically, we're better this year than we have been in traditional years. Legal, and I'll defer some of this to the controller's office and city administration. This is a lot of work comp, lawsuit, litigation, all the expenditures that then they'll turn around at the end of the year and balance out.
Okay. Radio equipment as of June was not expended at all, 0%?
That just depends on when we're ordering equipment.
Okay. All right. Other services and, is that what that is? Other services and charges, what comes out of that line item?
This was a request that I made a couple years ago as well. Axon is the primary culprit of the depletion of that account so early on. That's 165,000 of that probably.
Okay. All right.
So if we would like to entertain, next year when we get into this process, creating a line solely for a large contract like that, where that's the only thing that comes out of it, I'm definitely not opposed to it, but that's what the bulk of that cost is.
What is your current workforce? How many officers do you have currently?
106.
106. You have 106 or you're budgeted for 106?
We have 106.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so we're a little under. We were, this is an opportunity for me to talk to you guys about this. We got up to full staff, which for us is 108. That lasted for about a week. We've had 2 people resign in a week's time. One is seeking employment on the West Coast through no fault of here or anywhere else. His wife is in the military and got restationed out in California, so he's going with her. Can't blame him. The other one is a young person that we're seeing this a lot more. Young people come in, they think they want to do this, they start to do this, and then they realize it's not for them. And that's okay, but that definitely puts us in a precarious position as an administration when we start talking about the amount of time it takes to onboard and train a new person. So to onboard and then train and release on their own, we're at realistically 16 to 18 months. And it's an expensive process. So just to give you an example, a psychological service assessment for hire, which we have to do by state statute, runs anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200, and we're a fish out of water if that comes back as a not recommend. We're done with that person. So that's all the money that we have to spend that we don't get anything in return out of, but that's something that we have to do. So that as the candidate pool has gone down through the years, these challenges have definitely increased. So 106 now. My hope is we've got a process going right now where we've got people in process, but realistically, I hope that we can grab 2 out of it. If we net 2 to 3 people out of a process, that's pretty good.
Okay.
That's a far, far, far stretch from where we were even 10 years ago when it was 30 or 40 people out of a process that we put on the list.
Okay, I just want to, thank you. I'm excited that you guys have 106 police officers. And we know we've had discussions before with not having enough police officers hired, the overtime goes up. And so now you have 106 and there is a spike in the overtime, 421,000. Could you explain how that's going to play out in the coming year? Is there?
I'm sorry, what are you looking at as far as the overtime spike?
Huh? Yeah. Where is it? Yeah. Oh, it's 405.
421.
And 421, yeah.
That's just a reflected increase for what we anticipate being higher salaries. So it's 405. It's an appropriation amount that we're requesting in 405. We're asking that to be increased by 16,000 to offset potential raises. We have money that goes into that line that we get reimbursed through the federal government for overtime purposes. So that number is always also in flux. But also, I think the chief's probably got something as far as overtime is concerned.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it is every day, all day.
Thank you.
I mean, seemingly anyways, that we're getting requests for policing services throughout the city. And it's all over the place. I mean, all over the place. People want us to show up to all kinds of events that we're having, whether it's downtown or whether it's, I mean, even security for, the city council meetings. I mean, all of that stuff adds into this. So it adds up quick. And, we found out, like everybody would expect, that policemen being present keep things under control. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can give an example to that. I ran a cost analysis on Fire Up downtown, which is an event that's grown exponentially every year, and it's great for the city. But it costs us about $10,000 for the day in overtime.
And that's just $10,000 with people that are actually getting paid for that event, because people like us that work the entire event, we're there for 12 to 14 hours, and that's just part of the job.
Right?
So we're not gonna, just because we hired more police officers, doesn't mean our overtime's gonna go down. That's
No.
what I wanna hear.
Oh, no.
Okay.
As far as like police merit and police pension, I know that Mayor Ridenour talked about those being affected. That doesn't have anything to do, or does that? Do you budget that? Is that something that Craig budgets? Is that something? I noticed that neither of them really changed. I just wanted to know, like.
Correct, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Police merit is, we don't budget that, it gets budgeted through, technically the mayor commission's responsible for that. But
Right.
we work in conjunction with the controller's office. We don't have any anticipated cost increase there. We know what the testing costs are running us. It gets expensive. They're pretty much the same as they are this year. The police pension, that's all done through 77 Fund, per VRM, through the controller's office, mayor's office, pension secretary. That is a reimbursable, so, we're paying the old pensioner funds out of that, but that's reimbursable money that city submits to 77 Fund for reimbursement.
Okay.
But that's handled at the administrative level.
Any questions down that way? Nothing so far? Councilperson Selby? I'll give everybody a minute to look through, because you're, obviously your budget's a little longer than the ones we've covered. I just want to make sure. And as you're reviewing that, if any of the committee members have questions of the department heads that we've discussed with budgets tonight, please make sure if you email them, you include all of us so that we're all receiving the same information.
That's what I said.
So. Any other questions for the chiefs? Okay. All right. I think that's it. We appreciate what you do. Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor, let's go home. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, so I have, Lacey, I have requested a copy of the minutes of that meeting. Just, I wanna have a, and then also the salary ordinance themselves. Because
I don't
we,
understand what's on there. I mean, all of those numbers were high. Are you mathing the same way that we are?
Oh, no, I wrote this, I wrote it out to the side. I mean, from the get-go.
Same, I mean, I was doing it.
7% for the judge, there's 8% for, human rights, there was 15 and 5.
That would have been too embarrassing, but there it was.
Yeah, it was all over, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I pulled up one of those
Well,
calendars,
I'm not,
or
and
calculators,
I'm
because
not
I'm.
suggesting, because I don't want to get into the same situations we had last year, because then you're dealing with longevity and time and all that stuff.
I was